Tenet is the latest film from director Christopher Nolan starring John David Washington. Known for his convoluted, complex plots, practical effect preference, and dump truck loads of exposition, Nolan may not be a household name yet, but he is without a doubt one of the best known directors of the past decade. Probably recognized by most for his Dark Knight trilogy, he's also the brain behind such mind-warping blockbusters as Inception and Interstellar. I enjoyed Dunkirk upon release, but still feel that Nolan is best when behind the wheel of a sci-fi plot. Seeing trailers for Tenet gave the sense that perhaps he had birthed another Inception. We had expensive corporate set pieces, men in suits making use of seemingly impossible technology, confusion, and high stakes. It's the summer blockbuster that's finally gonna rile the crowds back to the theaters. Or is it? Tenet is far from the delicate balancing act that Nolan so masterfully crafted 10 years ago. Not only is the film presented in an unnecessarily rapid-fire manner that deliberately disorients the viewer, but it also decides to laugh in the face of the audience for trying to follow. In an early scene, an unnamed scientist speaks to the unnamed protagonist, played by John David Washington, explaining what the film labels as inverted objects. Halfway through the explanation, the protagonist asks a question and is met with the response, "Don't think about it." The concept takes shape through visual storytelling as the plot progresses, resulting in brilliant action sequences, but I can't shake the feeling that Nolan hadn't thought about making anything more than these cool shots going into Tenet's production. There's also a lack of any sharp wit to the dialogue, development, or character, the latter being the dullest. The delivery of almost every single word is bland and emotionless. It's belted out with the express purpose of setting up an action sequence and nothing more. Leaving the theater, my girlfriend remarked that every actor sounded as though they were asked to read their page of Charlotte's Web in 4th grade English class, letting sentences fall from their mouths in a punctuationless stream of word vomit. As if the strange dialogue wasn't challenging enough for the audience to understand, the true trial that the film presents is hearing a word that the characters are saying. I don't mean to be crass, but what the fuck? Was this mixed on Beats Solo headphones? $5 earbuds off Alibaba? A phone speaker? I understand that COVID hit film productions hard, but when you have a budget of $200 million plus, you must be able to send some audio equipment home with the staff, right? Nearly every scene of dialogue has blaring music or heavy vehicle noises layered over top, inducing a catastrophic migraine on anyone attempting to understand the words coming out of the actors' mouths. To steal a quote from Yahtzee Croshaw, nobody cares about it, so imagine how god-awful the audio mixing has to be that I consider it important to mention. Admittedly, I did find the fight scene in the kitchen well mixed. I haven't seen such a raw and visceral fight scene like that in months. Well, that's enough praise, let's go back to the bad stuff. The characters are non-existent, they're basically just set pieces. I didn't care about a single person because they all acted like socially inept morons, which is more the fault of the writing than the acting, but the actors didn't seem to care too much either. One scene involves the discussion of an apocalyptic event that could kill everyone on Earth, and one character responds with a remark about how their son is included in everyone. Like, yes, we understand that. It's not just tone deaf, it also suffers from severe tunnel vision. The film cannot see beyond its own premise. The implications of the world built around this technological marvel, which should be staggering, are just breezed over. Nothing is given any room to breathe or slow down, which sounds silly when Nolan is already asking for 2.5 hours of your time, but I feel that an additional quarter of an hour could only solve the pacing problems. Though it would probably mean enduring more of the strange acting. I struggle to call it bad, it's not. The cast is very talented, but not even Robert Pattinson can make this script feel alive. He's certainly the most animated of the cast, though. Washington as the lead was much more muted and stoic in comparison, making for an uncharismatic protagonist that I simply did not care about. What I did care about, however, as I mentioned before, are the action scenes. The opening of the film is good, and the first act at the airport is even better. The action sequence in the second act, which I won't spoil however, is absolutely fantastic. I haven't the slightest clue how they shot any of this, but it was mesmerizing to watch. The final act felt very out of place in contrast. Almost generic, if not for the time fuckery gimmick. The set was far from memorable, and I couldn't even tell who was shooting who most of the time. I can't even remember if I saw more than 3 bodies drop. Just another head scratcher in a slew of confusing decisions. I'm not sure if Tenet fumbles because of the pandemic or if it simply lacks the refinement that Nolan's previous films have received. It's not a terrible film by any means, just a foul ball amongst a career of home runs. I would still say it's worth watching for the action sequences, they're quite the marvel, but everything else about the film is just passable, except for the audio mixing. You're better off pouring miscellaneous bugs into your ears. For those reasons today, I think we can give Tenet a 6 out of 10.